what do you think are going to be some of the initial signs that at least some of them are going to come true? Like what, maybe in the next, sounds like probably the next couple of years, what big sea changes do you see coming?
And the first thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a massive job loss. I believe that it's going to hit so fast. And once it starts to snowball and companies realize that in order to compete, they have to thin the herd. You're seeing it already. You're seeing companies out there in the tech space, in the banking space. Chase said their goal is to eliminate 50% of their workforce or more to AI. And they're doing it. They're actually laying people off and giving AI these roles. And the more sophisticated, the more advanced it becomes, and the better it becomes at processing and doing the jobs of these people, the more and more positions it's going to take. And it's going to snowball. And we're going to see 50 to 60 to 70% unemployment in the US and globally. And it's going to be absolutely devastating. And I won't say there's almost nothing we can do about it, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it, unless we put the brakes on right now and start creating some of these rules and start taking these problems out and say, okay, for example, the Trump administration keeps saying we're going to bring, manufacturing jobs to the US. But you and I both know that when these manufacturers come to the US, they're being built with AI and with robotics. And sure, there's going to be certain very high skilled labor they'll be required to build out plants now, but eventually these plants are going to be run not by humans, but by AI and technology, and not necessarily, the good paying jobs that the Trump administration is talking about. Matter of fact, if you actually listen to Howard Lutnick, he's actually said, yeah, it's not going to be as many jobs. It's going to be these very high paying jobs that are for very high skilled labor, but it's not going to be, a jobs program.
Well, I mean, at what point though, if you kill your food source, then you die. These companies do need the revenue from people and customers and everything. So would there be a self-regulating mechanism? As people lose their jobs, they have no money, they can't buy your product, and therefore your revenue goes down and down and down. And so you try to automate more, but at some point you only exist as like a small fraction of what you used to be.
That's exactly right. And that's why you have to start looking as a business owner right now. The businesses that we're consulting with, we're looking at, not only their business and their ability to sell to their customers, but their customers' ability to sell to their customer. And because this is a domino effect, and you've got to have the planning in place and the agility. That's why we recommend a lot of our clients move to something like the Sprint Agile method, the full Scrum process, or something similar, because you've got to be agile enough as a company to be able to turn on the dime, meaning change the markets that you're selling to, change the products or services that you're offering, because there's new competition in the place. Make sure that you have enough cash flow in hand, do whatever you can. And of course, if cash crunch comes, then you can survive. You have enough time to survive the change and to start actually thinking about these things, not from this is the future, but this is the immediate future. This is coming in years. And I mean, maybe 2 or 3. I think we'll be lucky to get through 2026 without a massive unemployment problem in the world.
You think literally in 1 year?
Yeah. I know you already see
where do you think what's already hitting where?
Is obviously what I took an MIT course on AI last year. And one of the things he said was the hottest programming language in the world now is English, meaning if you have the word, you can program. And it's getting truer and truer and truer. Now, if you don't understand technology at this point, you can't really put it together. You still need the developer now, but it's getting real close to where you might not need the developer. Maybe you just need the business architect or the person who can think through the product. So there's a lot of developers that may or may not be out of work very quickly.
There's like no code. That's a new form of programming or not programming that I'm seeing.
Yeah, there's programs like Cursor and Replit. There's things that we have to think about ethically. It's very important because we haven't really thought through the ethics of AI, at least not deep enough, where you have a product called Replit, which can replicate code. So you can point Replit at like Expedia and say, I want the Expedia capability. And Replit will go in and basically rip the technology and all of that intellectual property and build you an Expedia website. Now, of course, you'd have to create the relationships with the airlines, the customers, and market it and the whole house, but you could basically rip off Expedia. Now, the question is some people have made the ethical argument that, hey, if it's out there in the public and people can see it, then you and I can look at it and reverse engineer it in our brain. Why can't AI do that? But the problem is that we're not doing it with our brain. We're using this artificial artificial entity to do so. And yeah, it's theft. And so we have to have these hard conversations about what we want to accept as the quote unquote benefits of AI, or is it too ethically challenged to use it that way?